All right, so this video is on the second game from Prep Test 24, so 24.2, and let's get started. This game is a pretty straightforward linear game. They tell us we have 7 singers, and we're going to be scheduling them for a singing competition. Importantly, it tells us that each singer is going to perform by him or herself, so no duets, so we don't have to worry about people being in the same spot. And it says that uh, each singer is only going to give one performance, so there's no, somebody performing second and then also performing fifth. So basically, since each singer gets its own spot and each singer performs exactly once, this is a one-to-one linear game where each spot is going to get one singer and each singer is going to get exactly one spot. So that keeps things kind of simple. Uh, Now let's go to the rules. Okay, as you can see, I started on the setup just to save a little time, but I'll take you through the rules. Jamie performs immediately after Ken. That's over here. Um, this rule, and it's a block, right? Because they say immediately after Ken, not somewhere after Ken. So we just put K, and then J comes right afterwards, and we put it in a block to indicate that there's no room to stretch that out or anything like that. It has to be K, and then immediately J. Um, the next rule says Patrick performs at some time after Maya. So this is just at some time after. That's this rule here. And hopefully you are pretty familiar with this kind of a rule and how to write it and what the implications are. Um, so let's go to the next rule. Lalitha performs third only if Norton performs fifth. All right. So this is a conditional statement. Lalitha performs third only if Norton performs fifth. So if you're familiar with conditional reasoning, you should be able to write this statement as I've written it in the rule box, L3 then N5. As a reminder, the word only is a necessary indicator. Only if is a necessary indicator. So that means that Norton performing fifth is the necessary condition and Lalitha performing third is the sufficient condition. Okay? And finally, it says if Patrick does not perform second, he performs fifth. So, this is also a conditional statement. And it's saying, if he doesn't perform second, then he performs fifth. And the contrapositive of that would be if he doesn't perform fifth, then he performs second. I think it's easier, not with all conditional statements, but with this particular kind of conditional statement, it's easier just to boil it down to an or statement because that's really what this is. It's like, well, he either performs second or he performs fifth. One of those has to be true. Because if he doesn't go second, he goes fifth, and if he doesn't go fifth, he goes second. So either he's second or he's fifth. Um, so those are the rules. Now, hopefully, I don't think that there's anything in the rules that is especially complicated. Um, so let's just look at the not laws. And again, here, hopefully you were able to get the not laws that I've written here because they're pretty standard rules, and the not laws that come out of them are also pretty standard. Let's see. So you can see I have P in a lot of places. Like P can't go in 1, P can't go in 3, P can't go in 4, P can't go in 6, and P can't go in 7. And the reason is because of this rule over here, right? P is only allowed to be in second or fifth. Some people wouldn't even write those P not laws, but I'm doing it just to be thorough, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And so then the other not laws are going to come from these two rules up here, okay? So let's start with the KJ block. Since the K has to come before the J, we know that the J can't be first because we need to leave room for the K to come before. So that's why we have this not law over here for J. And since the K has to come, before the J, then we know that the K can't be last because otherwise there wouldn't be room for the J to come afterwards. So that's where that not law comes from. And the one not law that we're left with is this one. And that comes from, so the M can't go seventh. And that comes from this rule over here, which is that M is before P. And you're probably pretty familiar with this logic. We can't put M seventh because then there would be no room for the P to come afterwards. Okay? Um, so that's where the not laws came from. Now, that would be the basic setup for this game. It may have crossed your mind to think about doing the templates from this rule, P being second or fifth, and hopefully it did cross your mind because whenever they give you a dual option for one of the variables, you do want to think, well, since that variable can only go in two places, would it be worth my time to draw up some templates based upon the two places where that variable can go? And a lot of times, that's exactly what you want to do. But the question you need to ask yourself when you're deciding whether or not you want to do that is, if I go ahead and draw the templates, in this case, if I draw one template where P is in second and another template where P is in fifth, would I be able to put some other stuff down in each of those templates? In other words, would there be deductions that would arise from the particular placement of P? And in this case, if we put P second, okay, like let's just say we put P here, all right, well then we would know that M goes here because the M has to go before the P, but that's about it as far as I can tell. So that's not that much, right? We don't really get that much action being driven by putting the P in second. And then the other template would have been if P's fifth, so this, and from here we actually, as far as I can tell, don't get any action, right? We don't know the placement of anything else based upon the P being put in fifth. So that's the reason that I decided not to draw the templates. But if you decide to draw them out and play with them, it's not a bad move. Like in this case, my recommendation would be to not draw them out. But let's say you drew them out, it would take you about 20 seconds maybe, and then you would realize that they're not that useful, and that would be fine. And I'm okay with wasting those 20 seconds every now and then, because when the templates do work, when you are supposed to draw them, they pay off in such a big way that if you have to waste 20 seconds every now and then to make sure that you get the templates when they are going to be useful, then that's okay. All right, so let's go to the questions. Number 6 is a list question, and you just want to take each of the rules, apply it to all of the answer choices, get rid of the answer choices that violate that rule, and then go to the next rule, right? So, for example, K has to be immediately before J, A checks out, B checks out, C checks out, D does not check out because they have K in third and they don't have J afterwards, so D's out. And then on this rule, E also checks out. So we get rid of D. Then the second rule says M has to be before P, and M has to be somewhere before P. So A is okay. B is out because they have Maya fifth and P is in second, which is not allowed. So B and D are out so far. Just to be careful, we'll check the rest of them. In C, M is before P. D we already got rid of. And in E, M is before P. So far we got rid of B and D. Let's go to the next rule. If L is in third, then N is in fifth. So we find any situation where L is in third, which happens in answer choice E. And we check to see whether N is in fifth. And in this case, N is in fourth. So E is out also because it violates that rule. And so we're down to A and C. And hopefully one of them is going to violate this rule that P has to be in second or fifth. A is okay because P is in fifth, but C is problematic because they put P in sixth. So we get rid of C and the answer is A. Hopefully there's nothing surprising to you in the way that I did that question. Let's do number 7. If Lalita is scheduled for the third performance, which one of the following must be scheduled for the sixth performance? Okay, so this is a local question, and you would typically draw up really quickly a little local diagram right next to number 7 on the test itself, and you would write in whatever they tell you and figure out what you can based upon the rules and then look for the answer. I'm going to just go ahead and do it in this main diagram just because of the dabble board and all that. It's just kind of a hassle to draw up a new one, and I'll run out of room and things like that. So just don't do as I do as I say, which is to draw a new local diagram right next to the question. All right, if Lalita is scheduled for the third performance, so we put L here, and then we try to figure out what happens. So we're like, if L is third, then we have a rule that says N has to be fifth. Okay, so we also have a rule that says P has to be second or fifth. So since N just took the fifth spot, then P is going to have to be second. And now we're looking for what other rules might apply. We use the bottom two rules. So the next rule up says M is before P, which means since the P is in second, that would mean that the M has to be first. And our block, the KJ block, is going to have to go here and here because there's no other two spaces left open, which would leave the straggler, who is O, to go in the fourth spot. Okay, So all of this happened when we started with the premise that Lalitha was scheduled third, right? This is what set all of these deductions off. So if Lalitha is third, which one of the following must be scheduled for the sixth performance? And the answer is K. All right. So the answer is B on number 7. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go to number 8. Number 8 is another, well, actually, let me just be careful and take off what I just did off from the diagram. Okay, so one more. So 8 says if Norton is scheduled for the 5th performance, which one of the following could be true? So they want me to put Norton here, and they want to know what could be true. But before I go into the answer choices, I want to do my analysis, right? So if N is 5th, then what do I know? Well, P has to be 2nd or 5th, but 5th just got taken up, so I got to put P here. And we kind of went down this road earlier. If P is in 2nd, then M has to come before P, so M has to be in 1st. And now I'm left with 2 possibilities for how this could play out, right? And I'm going to recreate this one time, move it up here, and then play out the 2 possibilities. So I can either put the KJ block like this, right? Or I can put the KJ block like this. All right? And if I put the KJ block like this on the bottom one, then the 2 variables that are left are going to be L and O. And so I'm going to go L/O, L/O, because there's nothing that tells me whether the L should be 3rd and the O is 4th, or the O is 3rd and the L is 4th. So I don't know, so I just do the dual option. And it's the same thing over here, right? Because there are no rules governing which one of these is going to come first. It's just going to be not L.O, L/O, not L?O, L/O. Okay, so these are the two templates for this particular question, and with these I can tell them what could be true. It has to appear on one of my templates, right? So let's see. We go through the answers. Jamie is scheduled for the 6th performance. So could that be true in either of my templates? We would look in the 6th spot. No, right? That can't be the answer. Ken is scheduled for the 2nd performance. No, P is always scheduled for the 2nd performance, right? Lalitha is scheduled for the 4th performance. So we look in the 4th spot, and yeah, that can be true. Not in this template, but in this one, right? Lalitha can be in the 4th performance. So this is going to be my answer. Just in case you have questions about D and E, let's go on. Maya is scheduled for the 3rd performance. So can Maya be scheduled 3rd? No. This is the possibility. These are the possibilities for 3rd, and in fact we know that Maya is always going to be 1st. So D's out. And then finally the last one says Olive is scheduled for the 1st performance, and no. Olive cannot be 1st because M is always going to be 1st, given the prompt they gave us for this question. All right, so that's number 8, and just to be clear, the answer is going to be C, because we could put L in the 4th performance. There's a time limit on YouTube, so that's 15 minutes, and so I'm going to stop here, and then I'll answer the remaining questions in another video, the next video. All right?